Okay, so I had chapter 8, which was inequalities in health and illness. We talked about a lot of different aspects of health and illness in this chapter, but what I wanted to mainly focus on was obesity, and then I wanted to tie in how it affects body image. So, obesity and body image in the United States. Our population is rapidly growing heavier while our body expectations are growing thinner. The idealization of thinness is depicted in TV commercials, magazine advertisements, and all forms of social media. These two pictures are different advertisements that have been seen in the United States. The one on the left is what the perfect body looks like for a female, and then this was on an advertisement board saying, "Save the whales, lose the blubber, go vegetarian," while having someone who's overweight on the side. So the first article that I looked at was titled Body Image in America Survey Results. This article is found on Psychology Today by David Garner in 2017, and it's about research that David Garner and his partner did. They sent out surveys all over the US and depicting about how people feel about their body image. They received 4,500 responses back from every state, and the results were 86% female and 14% male. Some of the results they found is that 56% of women were dissatisfied with their overall appearance. The main areas that they disliked was the abdomen, their body weight, and the muscle tone for both genders. The main difference between the two genders is that women want to lose weight while men want to gain weight. But they also found that the average weight of women was about 140 pounds, but they still preferred to be about 125. They also found that the greatest dissatisfaction in body image was found in those who are of heavier weight. To talk about the culture stigma in the United States is that overweight is bad, and this leads to a negative body image because they face a lot of discrimination and bullying. They also found that body distortion leads to development of eating disorders. And so body distortion is someone who is of extremely lighter weight or someone of average weight who distorts their reality in thinking that they are fat. And so they decide to try and change this and lose more weight, which in turn they develop eating disorders. So the overall issue in the United States is that more people are becoming obese, but the cultural standard of this ideal weight is practically unattainable for most people. Obese people face a ton of discrimination. Some examples of this are the fat tax for health insurance, unqualified for military services, less likely to be hired, and more likely to be paid less. We kind of already talked about the differences in gender, but to talk about the race and class, minority groups tend to be in the lower class in the United States, and if they are obese, they then have to pay more for health insurance, but they are also more likely to be paid less if they can even find a job. So in turn, they most likely can't even afford a weight loss program, and it's probably not their top priority. So the next article I found talks about the Spain curbs body image ads on television. This article was found on The Guardian News and Media in 2010, and I know it's a little outdated, but I think it's still pretty relevant. They decided to make changes to combat negative body image and reduce exposure to children by placing a law. This law states that broadcasters cannot carry advertisements for things that encourage the cult of body and have a negative impact on self-image, such as slimming products, surgical procedures, and beauty treatments, which are based on the ideas of social rejection as a result of one's physical image or that success is dependent on factors such as weight or looks. They also tried to propose a law to ban low-calorie food advertisements, but this was rejected by legislators because they believed that slimming products were more dangerous and harmful. So the main differences between the United States and Spain is that the United States idolizes skinny and obesity or overweight is bad. Use of advertisements to create negative body image for everyone, and this creates eating disorders and higher risk for bullying, which can in turn lead to poorer mental health and quality of life. Whereas in Spain, the overweight is more desirable and sought after, and this eliminates exposure to children of banning advertisements after 10 p.m. to these slimming products and body modifications. So this will decrease eating disorders and bullying, which in turn will increase better mental health and quality of life. So to talk about our healthcare systems a little bit, the United States tends to be more aggressive. We have higher standards for health, blood pressure, diet, and weight. In the United States, obesity is considered a disease, and here we have annual doctor's visits to check if our body is in perfect condition. If it's not perfect, we find a solution. So to tie back towards advertisements, there's a ton out there about medications to help cure this or cure that. To talk about the annual doctor visits, I remember as a kid, they would always ask if you'd get your right amount of fruits or vegetables, and if you didn't, you would almost get scolded for it. Whereas in other countries, there's a smaller amount of pressure for body perfection, and they have fewer doctor's visits, which does save them money in the long run as well. I did want to talk about how what is considered obese here may be considered normal in other countries, so that also has less pressure on maintaining this perfect body image and weight. So these are some of the questions I had for you guys to discuss in the discussion board. You don't have to answer all of them, but I thought that some of them were good to at least think about. And then these are my references. So